Asad Rehman, you're the man behind the baby blimp.
I can't take personal credit. There are lots of very creative people behind the baby
But you're
blimp.
one of the masterminds behind the blimp.
I'm involved with the coalition that's organised.
OK, so last year we had a state visit for Mohammed bin Salman, who's the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He's a man who's committed war crimes, many people think, in the Yemen. He's a man who recently executed dozens of people in Saudi Arabia, rounded up people he didn't agree with and kept them kidnapped in a hotel and so on. Where was the blimp for him when he had his state visit?
Well, actually, we were involved in protests against...
No, but where was the blimp? Where was the blimp mocking the leader of Saudi Arabia? Why did you not have one for him? And yet somehow it appears...
I don't think the criteria of any protest is there a blimp? There's lots of protests.
Actually,
they use lots of different tactics.
No, but with respect, you've made it a criteria because you've only done it with Trump. And my question to you is, why is Trump so much more morally reprehensible than the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who executes journalists,
I think it might be
commits
more of
war
a comment.
crimes in Yemen?
I think it's more of a comment of Donald Trump that he's egotistical and's got a very thin skin, and that's why that kind of protest works with him.
But you didn't mock the Crown Prince of Saudi in the same way.
Actually, we did. We protested very vehemently, and it's interesting because, of course, one of Donald Trump's best pals is Prince Salman of Saudi Arabia, the very country he's just vetoed a law to prevent arms sales that are used against for humanitarian...
But you get my point. My wider point really is that we in the week of... My issue with this is this. People are free to protest, right? It's the whole point of freedom and democracy is that people can take the streets. I've got no problem with protest. My issue my issue with the baby blimp is this. In the week, particularly this week, when the President of the United States is coming specifically to honour the 75th anniversary of D-Day, where American servicemen and women joined forces with the British to repel the Nazis, right? One of the most important moments of modern times.
You should be absolutely passionate, and I know that you wanted...
I'm passionate about fairness.
Well, not
and I'm passionate
we
about
know that you wanted to be his chief of staff.
No, I don't want to be Donald Trump's chief of staff. Well, but unlike most people in the world, I like to be fair-minded about him.
So let's be fair-minded. Let's be as upset the fact that 6 young children have died in custody in the United States as a result of his policies to divide parents.
How many died in the Obama years?
Not 6, and nobody's died under ICE.
How many illegal immigrants did Barack Obama deport in 8 years? Do you know?
I don't know the exact
number. You don't know? Do you know?
Do you know the exact
Can you have a guess? I know the exact number. Can you have a guess?
I don't know the exact number.
Have a guess.
I've told you I don't know.
You're very worried about Trump's immigration policy. How many illegal immigrants in 8 years did Barack Obama, his predecessor, a Liberal, deport?
Piers.
Give me a number. Guess.
I don't know. I've just said to you.
Guess.
I don't guess. I've just.
You have no idea.
You tell me. You want to tell me.
The man who was so morally outraged by Donald Trump literally
why don't you just tell us?
You have no idea how many... When you abuse Trump over immigration policy, you don't know... And here's the reality of that. Let me answer you. Because you don't know.
No, Piers.
It was how many, Piers? How many
Barack Obama deported over 3 million illegal immigrants in 8 years. He was known as a deporter-in-chief by people in Mexico. He broke all presidential records for deportation.
Did he put children in cages?
You are outraged by... He actually did separate families.
No, did he put children in cages?
There are pictures of the Obama years where children are being kept in effective cages, yes. So actually, there's a rank hypocrisy about this. Look, I don't defend all things that Trump does, but what I don't like is the fact there's a double standard about the way you treat Mohammed bin Salman with the baby blimps. There's a double standard about the history
Why can't protesters tailor their protest to the particular leader who is coming?
There's
also and Freddie, also, this, you know, as Piers points out, it's a very significant historical moment, but that was all about fighting for freedom, the freedom to protest, the freedom to express your opinion, your civil rights. Surely this is exactly the sort of demonstration of freedom that we did fight for in the Second World War.
Well, I agree, but I'm not sure, actually, a lot of people really hold it. I don't think an enormous number of Brits want to stick 2 fingers up to Donald Trump as he arrives in Britain. I think there's
Some do,
and of course they can. But it's a shame when the impression that Americans might get watching Trump arrive in Britain is that we want to say, you know, go away to the most powerful person, our most powerful ally. And I think that's a grave, grave shame. And I think there is a double standard.
You have to... there is. And I think you have to divorce... you have to hold... If you don't like Trump personally, You have to divorce, I think, your personal antipathy towards the man and actually judge what we are here to commemorate this week, which is the people who lost their lives and fought for America and Britain on the beaches in Normandy. John Bercow, Speaker of the House, who's so incensed by Trump, allowed the President of China to come in. Right? Is he somehow a morally better person than Donald Trump?
There's an appalling hypocrisy in when people choose to make these stands.
There is a very tawdry history of us rolling out the red carpet for people with despicable views and politics.
Yeah, but you know why, You know why I said...
Hold on, Piers, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that whataboutery, we should be raising our standards. So, first of all, the fact that the overwhelming majority of what we would call, from political parties to ordinary people, majority of people in London object to the state visit is because it's the rolling out of red carpet, not just about the fact that he's a sexual predator, he tweets racist and fascist, he's a climate denialist, he's a misogynist, all of these things.
What's your evidence for the racism?
What? Hold on.
Well, it didn't help that he retweeted Britain first, did it, Freddie?
Where do we want to start?
Britain first was probably the worst thing he's done on Twitter, I'd say, as far as Britain's concerned.
So he's retweeted far-right fascists, the very people who are convicted racists, who were responsible, whose incitement led to the murder of a British MP. Remember that the murderer of Joe Cox shouts Britain first, right? The way he talks about migrants...
He's just not aware of that.
So now we're saying we have to excuse his stupidity.
We can say he's an idiot on Twitter, but that doesn't mean he's a racist.
Asad, here's my point, really.
But more importantly, it's actually about the politics.
But Asad, in world politics, right, and the Queen is the best example of somebody who does this all the time.
Can I just point out something is now happening at Stansted Airport?
Right. There are choppers arriving. These would be I would imagine, the backup security teams. That's probably got special air service guys in there who are arriving to dismember people.
Piers, are you getting those orders in your ear from Donald Trump? I'm landing, Piers, I'm landing.
Mr. President, I'll be with you shortly.
Exactly.
Stand by.
Honestly, my view, Asad...
Get rid of the blimp before I land.
My view is I wouldn't vote for Trump. I've never told anybody to vote for Trump. I understand he's a very divisive and polarising character.
And you have an issue with his views on gun control?
Many of his issues, right? However, I also can see some of the things he's doing in a positive light. My problem with the Trump debate, a bit like the Brexit one, is it's so extreme. Everyone has to be blindly hateful of everything he stands for and does, or blindly loyal. And actually, the truth is somewhere in the middle. He's actually turned out the first couple of years to be an oddly rather effective president. Certainly on the economy, for example, which is probably what will get him re-elected.
Well, actually, even on the economy, that's not quite true, right? So,
which part of the economy is not working in America?
Well, actually, the record levels of people living on minimum wages.
Record low black unemployment. I mean, that's quite odd for a white supremacist.
Can you give him any credit for things on the economy, Asad?
No, I don't. I mean, actually, if you look at...
But here's my problem. You literally can't look at the GDP numbers and job numbers in America and come up with a single positive thing to say about the president who's created these numbers.
Because, Piers, when I look at America, I see a very divided country. I see the poor getting poorer. I see the rich getting richer. I see the tax cuts benefiting the rich. I see that politics happening around the world. We see it in this country. 14 million people in this country.
But Asad, you weren't as animated or angry about Barack Obama's drone strike policy.
Yes, I was.
Hang on.
I've told you this, Piers.
No,
I've told you before. Many of us stand for human rights.
Right.
It doesn't matter who
Where was the big black balloon of Barack Obama wearing a nappy?
Piers,
flying over Parliament when he
stop being obsessed about the balloon.
The answer is
let's worry about the politics he represents.
the balloon has become...
This is a man who a few weeks ago opened the door in the White House to
the balloon.
Anti-Semite Orban.
The truth is, you wouldn't have done a black balloon because it would have been deemed as racist.
No,
and that is another ironic double standard about it.
Piers, the point about the balloon is it's specifically targeting Trump. You say it's targeting the American people, and if it was, there would have been a balloon in President Obama's time.
You are targeting the President of the United States when he comes to commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day with a stupid balloon, which you would never have done to Obama because it would have been called racist.
Piers, 75 years ago, you know, the British people and British soldiers fought against a kind of politics. And as I told you, millions of people from India, the Caribbean and from Africa stood with Britain against that.
As did Americans.
As did Americans. And
Americans fought side by side.
For which we are grateful and honour their sacrifice.
And it was against the kind of politics that used economic uncertainty to spread right-wing populism.
So if Theresa May... all right, I get your point. So if Theresa May was currently in America, right, and they were commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day in America with a ceremony at one of the cemeteries, and somebody in America, like you, flew a balloon of a half-naked female Prime Minister in a nappy, right? What would you say? You would be deeply offended on behalf of our country that our Prime Minister was being hideously mocked in that way. And that's my point. There's a double standard about it.
No.
There is.
There's particularly a double standard, this idea that
it would be called sexist and misogynist.
That Donald Trump is interfering in our politics. I really don't think he is, or certainly not any more than any previous
Well, he's backing Boris Johnson and saying that Nigel Farage should be...
He's a terrific guy and doing an excellent job.
He actually hasn't endorsed any candidate.
He hasn't endorsed anybody. I mean...
OK, I'm afraid that we have to leave it.